How you doing, Patricia?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. Long time, huh? It's been,
Yes, I'm
geez,
happy to
almost.
be here.
Yeah, it's been about 6 months. Everybody, tonight we've got a great show on. We're gonna feel free to even ask Patricia, Sanna here, resume expert, LinkedIn, all the coach. There's so many things on here. I'm like, all right, what else are you here? I'm like, geez, but you are active on LinkedIn. So we'll be right back after this video, everybody, and we'll start the show. That's like my life flashing in front of me every day. When I see that, I don't know what that little glitch was. I was like, oh God, no, please, please. That's the first time it did that. You always help with this new software that I got here, this company. It's okay, but they're two young guys and they're getting there. It's just some of the things I'm like, come on, guys, fix this. Will you fix it? So, how's everything going in New York? Good?
Everything's good. Yeah, school is out for the kids, and we're just trying to start enjoying summer, and work
Um,
is great.
It's ready to go. And I don't think what we're going to talk about here. I know I want you to introduce yourself first of what you do. And I did put your website, everybody, for the resumes, first impressions. I love that name, first impressions,
Thank
because
you.
I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
It's it. So I'll let you introduce yourself, and then we're going to go right into it.
sure. So, I began my career working closely with job seekers in HR. They come from diverse industries. Where I began consistently saw talent, professionals struggle to communicate with their value on paper. And
Nice.
I decided that, we can help, writing resumes and not just about formatting. It's about storytelling, strategy, understanding how hiring decisions are made. Um,
Right.
and I decided at first I started helping colleagues and friends, and then I moved out and started my own business doing this, and I love it.
The website looks great. I opened it up. It looks very good.
Thank you. My
You know,
friend's son did that for me.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Hey, listen, I'm just going to get into a lot of the questions. I've had you on before, and the show went very well. And you know, it, this resumes are just it's every day.
Yeah.
And like you said before, in a couple things. My main question, if I had to ask you right now, is how does AI affect that everybody thinks, and I'll disagree with some of it because everybody thinks that just use AI for a resume maker and versus a resume writer like yourself. Now, here's the second part of it. I'm sure that helps you as well, but at the same point, do you see what's happening in between it with you?
Yeah, when people use AI to make their resume, they tend to leave out their storytelling,
Yeah,
right? They
right,
are just putting in the keywords and that's it. And everyone's resumes are starting to look the same.
yeah,
So as when people bring me their resumes, and I'm like, oh, we have to fix that. Like we need we need to work on that. And I like using AI. That's not the issue. It's just that you need to use it for brainstorming rather than
right,
writing it at full force, right? Because you lose
right.
the storytelling part, and then it doesn't help. You know.
Especially with that, and then the way I look at it, I've seen it all the time. Is listen, when you you need to proofread your AI resume if you're going to do it. Because if you don't, sometimes when you get on there, you might miss something and you're not even qualified for that. It puts things on there that you're like, wow, this sounds great. But like I tell people, I can tell when it's written by AI. I
Yeah.
think to a certain level.
Yeah.
Listen, when it's starting to get up to medical, when you start talking other things, that's more your ballpark, all different things. I don't have that kind of skill set to go up that high and what I see. But on my level, I'm like, Jesus, man, you got to put a little bit more, whether you're using the AI or not, if you're doing it yourself, put a little bit of effort, and these are sometimes, 3-figure jobs. And it's like, I mean, I get the bullet points on it, but at least put something in there that's going to make me, besides the job title, and, you have this software, you have this software, you've done this. And I think that's where you always talk about. I like how you say about the storytelling, and that's what I want you to hit on.
Yeah, so it's more how people write down. This is a big thing. People like to write down like straight through their job duties that
Right.
come from the job posting, right?
Right.
That was the thing that's been told to people passed down at these jobs. So they put the whatever they've had at the job posting into their resume. And then they'll have AI like touch it up a little bit. But you want to have the storytelling. You want to tell like what you did and how it helped, right? So
Right.
you put it together, and of course you want some of those words in there,
Now, is that a couple sections that you want to do it like? Because when they did mine, I believe the girl that did mine when she did it a couple years ago on the fever, she's from Canada, and that's where mine is like. It talks more about me, right? And then at the end, it has all my like 6 jobs I had all my life, just the jobs and what I did, like a title. But the whole 2 paragraphs are all about what I've done. And then I finally got it. I was like, wow, she must have been doing this for a while because it tells you everything that I'm proud to say, and when I read it, I know what I'm talking about on that resume. But is that what you're kind of talking about? You split it up, or
Yeah, so that is one thing to do too. So I have where a job shouldn't be put on there. Any experience that's over 10 to 15 years shouldn't really be put on your resume as a full description of what
okay?
you
So that let me back up when you're saying that. So you're saying that's when, like a person like myself, I've only had 6 jobs. I'm 60. That sounds right.
it's
6 jobs in my career, and one was the military, and the rest was 5 in the market. So I have a good work record, and I was able to get it on a page and a quarter and a half, like she did it. Now, are you saying longer if somebody has? And I've seen that. I've seen all those long lists of jobs, and then I know you're going to say what's a good way to do it, but there is ways to consolidate all that, right?
So yeah, if so, in the case if somebody has a bunch of jobs, more than six, and they're 60, you don't need to put jobs that are your very first two or three or four. You don't need to put
Right.
them on there. You just need to put the like after I say honestly, I tend to not go beyond 2000 in those cases. I cut everything
Okay.
off unless they need that job for the job they're applying to, unless there's
Right.
something they need or they were there for 15 years. So if it's
Okay.
like 1995 or whatever, they started. Sometimes I leave it on, but I try not to because then there's discrimination.
That's
People
where I was going with that part. Yeah. You
yeah.
know.
People don't like seeing that. So I don't like to go beyond 2000. I feel like that's a fair number to stay with. But I do list the jobs just like that person did for you. And that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, because it showed. I wanted, and she even said that. Listen, like Crayola, Johnson and Johnson, they were big companies,
Yeah.
right? So I still wanted the recognition of the names that I worked for them, Tesla, all different things like that on the end, but yet everything's up in the front. So since I've done everything almost the same all my life, it's like, why would you double it like constantly? And that's what I think with like every job, if I put 6 jobs and almost it's all like 25 years of it staffing, it's all going to be the same thing. It's
So
it's
you
like
said
kind of
yeah.
doubling it when you could do it once, right?
Yeah,
In
but
a
if
way.
your last two jobs, like I've had clients like that too, and you don't want it to be repetitive throughout. So like
Right.
you would take like first of all, on experience, you should only have like a few bullet points. You don't need 10. You would have
Right.
I go about 6, right? Sometimes 7, 8, depending on the job they have. But you would take like if there's the same two two roles at two different companies, you want to show both companies, but you'll just move some of the bullet points to one and the other bullet points to the other one. So they're not repetitive, kind of dividing it in half. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's why in the one it has all my qualifications like that. So
Yeah.
that when you're looking at it, and I've seen other people's like, it's like, okay, this is the way it should be because I can look on there like with staffing. I know what to look for in staffing. But as a recruiter, when you said about the age bias, and I get that because that's what a recruiter will think sometimes. Because I'm like, listen, I am not biased at all. But I do talk with the candidate and say, listen, this is what I would recommend. First of all, if it looks like crap, I will tell them I'm not going to submit. Listen, I would love to submit you, but I can't. Not with this resume.
Oh,
It's a 3-figure resume and you got nothing down on here. Well, then they'll say to me, well, that's just the Indeed one. Okay. And Indeed does crap. They
yeah.
do. Wow. If I wish people could see what they get
Yeah.
because they're like, "What's it say?" Yeah, it's tore apart. Half
Yeah.
of it's gone, and so
Yeah.
then they'll say, "Okay, I'll send you a new one." Well, you shouldn't have to do that if you're
Right.
if you're a professional. That's just I call that it's just part of the pie. That's just part of it. Take some effort. Reach out to people like yourselves, and everybody says they'll even say, "Well, resume writers are expensive." I'm like, okay, so let's just say $500 and a great friggin' job, or zero, do it yourself, and a lower paying. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that's where, like you said, where you come in, and you know how to hit that. Now,
Yeah.
what do you see some of the things that when clients come to you that they're missing?
Oh, okay.
I know, right? Here's a book. Here we go. Right?
Yeah. The biggest thing is, and I think I mentioned in my post last week, is a lot of people are not all good or just don't even have a professional summary.
Right.
Um, and I think that is so important to have because even they see the experience, but someone, if they're at least interested in you, they're going to read that summary right
Right.
away. It's
Right.
it's got it's right up
I
there.
read them. I read them.
Yeah, I do
I do.
too. I
Yeah.
read them too. So, and the weird part is some people have the word objective in there instead of summary, and that's so old school. And it's like,
Is it? Yeah,
no,
I guess. Oh my God, I'll have to look on mine. I'll look on there. I'll see what she put. I'm sure she put summary. I don't think she put. I don't think she put that. I get it. I get what you're saying there because it's the same thing. Everybody
yeah,
says the same thing.
yeah. So you want to have it to say summary, not objective. So that's one big thing I see on there. Another thing is when people put like, and this is like a thing I see 50-50, like they'll put their skills on the bottom at the very end after all the experience. It's on the last page. And guess what? Who's reading the last page?
Nobody.
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 So you need those skills on the under the summary at the first page. It's
Because I
so
always count on the printer. I'm like, all right, 1, 2, and then I look. Oh, there's the end.
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
geez, I got to look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nobody has time for that if, when you're going through so many resumes and the way everything is with the job market right now. So you
Right.
don't have to go through the third page or whatever it is. So yeah, so those are the two biggest things that I see that's like crazy, that bothers me.
Right. To get you in there because you see the results, right? I mean, listen,
Yeah,
the girl that did mine, I recommend her too because she did a
yeah,
great job. Whenever I apply, when I got it, I was like, well, let me try it out.
yeah.
And you know what? From doing myself and doing that there was worth a couple $100. And I use it now. Wh- How long? Well, to update, you really don't have to update as long as you're not adding anything new, right? And if you're at the same job, or should you do updates once in a while, maybe? Or I mean,
Yeah, because you may forget. So if you're at a job for like 3 or 4 years, just
right,
say, and over those 3 or 4 years, I'm sure you had learned a new skill or done
right,
something, right?
right,
So you should update, I think, honestly, like every year you should update and just
update,
throw in something or at least make notes somewhere because if the time is, God forbid, you got let go or something,
right.
you're in a scramble and you're trying to figure it all out and you're trying to put things together and you make a mess of everything. So you don't want that being a situation either. So
No, because I get some
I
people send it, and I'm like, "What is this?" Oh no, oh, I'm sorry, that's the old one. Let me send you the updated one. Well, why didn't you send me
yes,
the updated one first?
yes,
I'm like,
yeah.
Well, why not send the updated one? Why would just don't apply because you're
Right.
lazy. If you're lazy not to do, I'm sorry, it's what it comes down to. I think if you're
Yeah.
again that part of the pie, it's got to come back to the job seeker also. It
Yes.
has to come back. I've even looked at entry level, right? So I was looking at entry level, and if you require a resume, my God, there's ways to make it look pretty sharp. You got to look at the wording, and I get it. So I
Yeah.
take, you take entry level, okay, just because it says load containers. Like, no, no. They say break it down, tell us sort, what you do.
Right.
Because it's just they can have a great looking resume as well.
Right.
My son did one. He's 16 to get a job this summer.
Oh,
And
nice.
he said I made a resume. I said, well, let me see it. So he's been DJing with me and he washes dishes. So we put on there and he put on there his attendance that he doesn't miss work at all.
Oh, wow.
I was like, that I said, how did you figure? He goes, well, I hear you talking all the time about not calling off work. And he says, I put on there on the dot that he has 100%, I don't know, it's 100% attendance record. He doesn't call off work. I'm
Nice.
like, that's all right for a child. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, we're to think like that. But they're the little things like that that I guess would catch somebody's eye as a listen when you're doing that. But again, entry level, I think you can make it look sharp.
Absolutely. Agreed. And even at my job now, we have applicants who just fill out the application form
Right.
and no resume. And we can't, at my job, we can't exclude them. We have to still print out so that application form
Right.
to use to read through. And I'm like, where's what? And these are, people with master's degrees and
Yeah.
stuff. And I can't believe that they don't upload a resume and they just
Right.
expect that application to be acceptable.
Acceptable. And I go there. This main question I had for you, it's two part. All right, so veterans. I'm a veteran. I have a lot of people that are veterans, and when I get veterans, that have been 20 years, like 15 years. So I'm going to say one thing on you're going to mean transferable skills, okay? But then I have to tell some veterans, I'm like, wow, dude, it's great, but I understand it. I really do. But an employer doesn't because being in the military, all this stuff on you're like, wow, but do you need it all? Because if you're looking for leadership, I always say leadership veteran, come on, 15 years, 20 years in the military, major, journal, getting out. Are you kidding me? Not about leadership. You can teach the job. And that's where I say those transferable skills. What do you say to veterans like that? How do you work with them on that? And to get them there I go. I think you're going to say in the beginning or something on summary, your skills and transferable skills from military to civilian life.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely do that on the resume. But also, you take the military, what they've done, and you do put it as a job and you do write it
Right.
in. And of course, you put it on the top because you have to do transferable skills in a situation like that where
Should you
people,
word it that way anyway so people understand what transferable skills are? Because I don't think a lot of recruiters do.
um,
Because I'll be like, what do you mean you didn't submit? Now, in my career's time, I'm just going to say my career's time, I've had people not accept them. And I'm like, damn, what am I not seeing what are you not seeing that I'm seeing? Because maybe because I was in the military and that you do have all those transferable skills, but I'm just trying to get that across. How do I get that out to the employer?
so, if they were in the military and they were supervising others,
Right,
something like of that, which is likely a scenario, and you would put in the summary if they are trying to be like a little higher up position, not at a bottom position,
right,
like higher up, and maybe a supervisor or something. You would write in there that I supervised 20 men and women,
right.
and I made sure that these daily tasks were done, whatever it is, and then you would just put that something like that in the summary to accommodate those
Sure.
transferable
And
skills.
and kind of gear it towards that job if you want, right?
Yes. Right. Yep. Yep.
That's where it's okay to, I think, change it up a little bit because not
Yes.
every job is the same. They're all close, maybe some if you're going for certain things. But
Yes.
like when I constantly say leadership, like management roles, I mean, when I see something like a manager, looking for 10 years of experience, I'm like, wow, what am I missing here? What did I not do to get convince somebody to go with a veteran, maybe I'm not biased, but I mean, if I go by what the candidate is qualified, and I just know they're qualified, and I'm like, damn it, I can't sell it because of that resume, the way it's set up, and it's confusing
Yeah.
because it's like reading a book.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked about that before. That's got to drive you crazy too, right? Because you don't. I don't want it. I'll tell people, man, this is like a book. I can't. I can't sit here and read this.
Right. Yeah. Some people will write paragraphs under they won't even break it up, and that is just the most frustrating thing to see. When you see all those paragraphs of what they did, like we just did like a hiring at my job now recently, and when I was going through all those resumes,
Right.
one of them had like huge paragraphs, like it was like per page under each one. I was like, you can't have that, It's just it's not even formatted right, and it just shocks me that people just put out what they think is okay or what they get from
Right.
the AI. It totally shocks me, but those you can't have that because no one wants to read that.
No, and that's what drives me crazy, and I try
Yeah,
to explain that.
yeah,
But what do you, if what kind of changes? Like when you say, I know we everybody's favorite thing is that damn ATS word. We hear it all the time. The
yeah.
difference, and you see that. Do, what do you think is one of the hardest things that people don't understand about an ATS? Is it, for example, say if you know SAP, basic stuff, softwares, and that's not on your resume, that's
Yeah.
not going to pick it up, right? It's just not going to pick it up, right?
Right. Yeah. No, because applicant tracking systems they do pick up um, certain keywords, right, for whatever the job posting is. So if you have customer service job, you want to have that word customer service in your resume,
In the
right?
resume, right?
If customer service, say if it's a phone job, a customer service, you want to have how many phone calls you can do. You want the word phone in there and stuff like that. You just really need it to be like what's in the job posting or whatever type of job you're applying for, and you want it to align with the applicant tracking systems, because those systems can be created by the employer, so they can
Right,
decide what keywords to use. So we don't know. We're just going by what they. That's why I always ask my clients, what type of job are you applying to? Is it going to
right.
be on your resume, or are you going for something new? That gives me an idea of what words to put in.
To put in, and that's why I think that's why for a resume writer, listen, that's where I come in. I'd say yes. If I have a certain skill set, I want to make sure. I'm sorry, the AI is great, but again, it's your. I'm not saying it's not, but I just feel better knowing that I got it from somebody that's written a lot of resumes, and you
Yeah,
understand because you have to understand the ATS systems
yeah,
because I've saw a lot of your reviews too. People said they've used you a lot, and so I mean,
yeah,
if they're not getting a job, they're going to be coming back at you and say, "I'm not getting anything."
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
uh, the cover letter is maybe I'm old school. I like a cover letter.
yeah,
I'll read it. I swear I'll read it
yeah,
because to me it just puts somebody put effort.
yeah.
That's what I
Tell
look
the
at.
story.
Some people say no, I'm not done it. But can you exactly? Can you change it up a little bit? Old school cover letter versus a new school. How's that?
Um, yeah. So, I mean, I don't think cover letters have changed a huge amount from old school to new school. I feel like they're
Right.
like almost the same. So you're just telling your story from front to end. Whether you can tell the story is another question, because some people, I give them credit for trying. Like you said, it's very
Yeah.
interesting to read those.
Yeah.
They're trying, right? But has the thing is with a cover letter, people may not realize you don't need to tell your life story. You don't need to say
Right.
anything personal, nothing about family, nothing about that. It's just about you and your career, in the career part of your life. And you start, with with your first role, and why is and how is it relevant to the job
Okay.
you're applying to. So you have to tweak it per job you're applying to, or per type of job, I should say. You would tweak it, and you would
Tweak
keep
it.
it under one page is ideal. No one wants to read a book like you said, so keep it short.
Yeah.
Just throw it in there. It makes a difference.
Some of them that I get, I'm always like, wow, I like this one. I'm like, this is nice. This is sharp. This
Yeah,
is going to get you work. And then for people that they don't do their resume until the last minute, you get laid off or you get let go. Everybody's got to rush together to get it together. And I
yeah,
feel comfortable to where it's like, okay, again, It's just part of that pie that you have to put things together to be prepared,
Yeah.
and that 1 week that you're not prepared could be a good job that you just missed out on. That's just
Yeah.
me. I mean, it's all it takes is a day. I
Yeah.
get asked a lot about the gaps. Okay, something with a family member, male, female, it doesn't matter, husband or wife, that's single parent that had to take care of somebody sick, their children, or or staying working mom, working dads now. You see that stayed home with kids.
Yeah.
Do you put that on there in a certain way, right? Because I like it on there. I like it to where at least I know when I look, entering the report, it could be worded certain ways, right? Or
Um, so when there's a gap in there, like I've had one or two clients who prefer to keep the gap alone.
right.
I like to fill the gap just so it's not, because there are some managers that are judgy, I guess you would say,
See,
who
that's
could.
the thing. Yep.
I will fill in the gap if I can with the person, if I get there what happened and what's going on. Some people go out for health reasons or taking care of a family member, which is
Right.
completely understandable, but we'll put it in as like a job, self-employed, and we'll put in what, proper
Right.
things they did, like help cleaning the house or help taking them to appointments. All those things really just are really helpful to put in there. And it's just a little something so they know that you weren't sitting around doing nothing.
Right.
You were doing something, right? Everybody's always doing something, I
That's what
feel.
I mean. And it's like, again, some people judge that because people don't realize your resume, if it's not done right, it does, people judge it.
Yeah.
Recruiters judge it. They'll look at that. Like I seen the one guy that applied the other week, and it has on there why he put the reason why he left on the job, that he had a work injury and he was let go. I'm like, oh my God, what did you just put on your resume? But
Yeah.
but again, I talked to him about it, and I was like, listen, you don't, HEPA, with HEPA, you don't need to explain. There's laws about that, and when people see that, they're going to look the other way. Sometimes they're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute, he's had an injury. What could it be? Could it be his back? Could it be this? You can't ask those questions, and that's why we have laws. So when it comes to that, I'm honest to people. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you crazy?
Yeah.
And I can imagine you go through that all the time, because what do you do when you first meet with somebody? What do you sit when you tell them to send you their old resume?
Yeah, I want to see their their resume that they're actually using, their current one, and then I take a look at it to just if we're in the middle of chatting, then I'll take a look at it, right? If they're asking me questions, if
Right.
it's a case where somebody just says, I need your help now here, and they send it to me, then I just look at it and I'll tell them, ooh, it needs a lot of cleaning up, or maybe not, maybe it just needs one or two things. I'll let them
Right.
know. Most of the time it needs a lot of cleaning up, but there's just a few people I've had that were, pretty
Right.
good. Just needed a quick, I could tell them what to do and they could fix it themselves. Because some people come to me just for questions as well, and I'll need to look at their resume and, and tell them what they could
That's where you
fix.
spend 20 hours a week on just answering questions.
Yeah, yeah, I've done
When
that.
Yeah,
Quite.
when they realize, this is, listen, I mean, I get it too. It's nice to have connections too, but
Yeah,
people need to pay bills, and you got to get paid to do your work, and
yeah,
that's what you get an expert. Because I mean, listen, again, I read the reviews on it. Everybody seemed to be happy with it, you
yeah.
know. So we talked about the gaps, the cover letters, the military. Um, Let me put it this way: if you had not like a consultant, I ran into a point to where there was just like 12 jobs, 13 jobs. Now I've been recruiting for a long time, so I actually will try to figure it out. I'm gonna be like, wait a minute here, there's no way. But he had consultant. Finally, I was like, oh, it was a consultant, and he had his own business. But he had it 2 pages with every job was almost the same thing, consulting, but there was just too many. And then I kept thinking, how would I get this to the manager? Because there again, the recruiter, you have to write up your suggestions. How are you going to sell this candidate? And if that person, yourself, how much time they spend on a resume when they look, it's
Yeah.
what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I think at most. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
like, yes, no, oh my God, look, he's had 20 jobs, but they didn't look at it right. And
Right.
that's where I believe, where we talked about in that beginning, and all
Yeah,
those skills can be right there,
on the
and yet
top.
all those companies can be combined. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's the right thing to say. It's like, hey, I'm a consultant, you know, something like that, because then as a recruiter, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's done all this.
Yeah, I wouldn't combine the jobs all together. I've had like one or two clients who had them all mushed up together like that. I
Right.
think it kind of looks sloppy. I don't think they should be meshed in together. Even though it's one under another, I don't think they should. I think they should still be separate. But again, like I said earlier in the beginning, like reword each one. So don't have them all. You have like 20 different things you were doing. So just put three under one and three under another. Something. It's just so it's
Right.
different. Because nurses, it's the same thing for them. I do a lot of nurses' resumes and they have the same job. So I would just break it up as per, each one because you can't have it the same. It's boring. It
Right.
doesn't work that way. So yeah,
It
you just break
doesn't.
it up.
Yeah, because again, I think if somebody, you can tell if they put the effort into it. This is a big thing, and I see it all the time. Spell check, hey, Grammarly, or something.
Yeah.
Even AI to correct the spelling errors, or just get it proofread. I can imagine as a resume writer, you must be like, that's one thing you don't want to make sure that you have any words spelt wrong, or, you know, there
Yeah.
again, you've got to take a responsibility and look at it. If you want to take your resume afterwards and run it through anything, but you got to do spell checks because there's no excuse. And look at the dates, because the dates are wrong. Oh yeah, that's the job I did in the beginning, and it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
need a resume writer. God, you need somebody to rewrite. You have a great background,
Yeah.
but you're putting the jobs that you first did years ago first, but way back and went backwards. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I recently seen a resume like that too, and I don't see those that often, but I recently did, and I was like, it confused me. I was like, wait, why is this? And then wait, they had the oldest one on the top,
Yeah.
then they had their newest one in the middle, and then they had something on the it was completely out of order, like they were just slamming them on. I was like, what is this? I had to clean it up.
Yeah, I can imagine on that. God, I'm hitting you with all these questions. Sorry, I got three more, and then I want to talk to you a couple things on LinkedIn. So when you go to the writer, you get that all done. What was I going to say? Now I forgot my train of thoughts. Oh, references. Old school back in the day, you always put references, names on there, and everything like that. Or some people I've noticed. Again, I say old school, new school. If if the references are there and you need references, well, you put it. Is it a bad thing, or is that the same thing? References upon request.
You don't even need to write references upon request these days. You don't need them on the resume. I take them off when people put them on. I don't acknowledge that at all because that is something you do along the application nowadays,
Right.
right?
That's
Or
true. Yeah.
upon the interview. That is something that comes on later, and it doesn't need to be in advance anymore. That is old school, though. I know. I remember
Yeah.
my first real job. I had to do that, but no, we
Yeah.
don't. No, that's no
Yeah,
more.
I don't think a lot of companies call people anymore. I don't know. That's just maybe
They
me.
send emails. Yeah,
I I have answered when somebody calls for a reference. I've never given somebody on the phone. Listen, they're only going to give them to me if they want a good reference. They're not going to. Oh yeah, he's an ass. He's a jerk. You don't want to hire this person. But that's not like that.
no,
Um,
it's not.
but I asked you a lot of questions on this part, and I got a couple more for LinkedIn.
Yeah,
And I know everybody even says it. The biggest thing that I've noticed, and that's where I know you help people on LinkedIn on their optimization and on everything. The resumes don't match what they have on their experience, and that I think it's critical to me because you want to make sure that it matches. And when you're helping people, like, do you see that?
yeah, I agree. That's part of my services too. I do the LinkedIn with the resume and the
Right.
cover letter. It's like a whole package deal. And I do recommend that because some applications require a cover letter, right?
Mine's in my features section, my resume.
Yeah, and people do
I
that too, and that's
Everybody's
fine.
like, your resume's on there. I'm like, and your point?
Yeah,
I look at it like you said, this is your business card, baby. You
yeah,
got your resume right there, and it matches. It looks great.
yeah,
It's done.
yeah.
Everything in one spot, and you must see that all the time.
Yeah, so with the LinkedIn, most people, well, a lot of people will say to me too, they're honest. They're like, I know my LinkedIn's outdated or I haven't done anything. What can I do to improve it? So then, I walk them through to improving their LinkedIn. And when I do the resume, I always tell them this too. This is a really important thing. So fix
Right.
your resume first, make that right. Once your resume is good, then make your LinkedIn to align with the resume.
One. Yeah.
And then once they're aligned, it's golden for you, because then once people are looking at you, they're going to go to your LinkedIn, they're going to see that it is aligned. Because
Yeah.
if it's two different jobs, two different everything, they're going to know something is off, and then they're not going to call you for an interview.
I've had so many the last 6 months. I don't care. I tell everybody I don't care. I By doing that resume, having that professionally done,
Yeah,
not by AI, by a
yeah,
resume writer. Now that I know Patricia, so you're my next one now. But I've had it done twice with having every single thing that I've listened to on LinkedIn and put on there, and doing everything I told you about, all these likes and comments, all these new ways, and I people have started reaching out more now than they ever have about jobs, recruiters. Some of them are scams. They're not. You can tell. I don't know
right,
what they're doing. We had a show about it last night. Bill was saying how they just want to get your information, and it makes sense,
yeah,
but when you get a lot, you're doing something right, because there are people that look at they look at LinkedIn, and a lot of people don't feel like they should be on it, but it
right,
takes a lot of work. Again, I say it's just part of the pie. If you get that all settled in there, really solid, with yourself, with a resume writer, LinkedIn, helping you with the LinkedIn, get it down perfect. The sky's the limit on that, because as long as you have the skills, you're going to get called.
absolutely. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so you definitely want the LinkedIn to be updated. You also need to make sure you have the about section filled out. A lot of people don't have that filled
I
out.
don't get that either. Right there's another now. That can be totally different than what your resume is, right? In a way,
Um,
you can
yeah,
put a little bit more in there, right?
yeah, in that section, you're just kind of like, you could put more in, but I feel like I I mean, they're about almost the same size, so whatever you put
I
in.
read
But
a paragraph of it. I don't read the ones that go. I'll read a big paragraph unless I'm really super interested. I'm like, okay, 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 okay. He's got it.
yeah, that's too much when they have that all in there. Just short and sweet, and just a couple of sentences, like two or three.
Right.
Yeah, that's important. And then also, what's important on the LinkedIn too is that people don't realize is your headline. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
have a headline, or they have one word under that.
Yours
That
is right on here as it goes by on the scroller. This is actually your headline right here, where it says on there about yourself, and it has everything. When people see it, let's see, it's coming up right now. So let's see. You have with host David Wilson. There it comes. All right, here we go. Special guest Patricia, Sanna, resume writer, ATS resume expert, interview coach, helping job seekers land more interviews, and then author. I mean,
yep,
you can't ask for more. It's just like mine I have on. You can't ask for more. Right there, I could tell you everything about you.
right, exactly. And that's what you need, not just one word. You want the whole story. So
Yeah.
it's your
I
story.
mean, you can't beat that. If anybody didn't hear me read that, you can read it on the bottom, and that's
Yeah,
why I always tell people go to my page or something like that.
yeah.
Like you put out some great posts. You
Thank
put out a lot of information, a lot of jobs. I noticed, like I said, I see you putting on there, and
thank
you
you.
always post, and it looks great.
Yeah,
It looks so professional when somebody, if you're applying for a job, I just like it when a LinkedIn's done well.
yeah. Agreed.
You
It does
know,
look professional. Yeah.
and everybody has opinions. So you're always like, well, no, this resume writer said this.
Yes.
I'm like, that must drive you crazy.
Yes, because I'm like, well, where did you like? I mean, I don't care where they got it from, the info, but I'm just like, well,
Right.
I don't want to be rude either, but I'm like, that's not correct. I have to say, well, this is how this is now.
Right.
I'll kind of say something like that. It's like really like the people who have those questions are the ones from college. The college students, the
Right.
early, their first 1 or 2 years out of college. Those are the ones who are like, well, I was told it was like this, and they're very firm on like it needs to be
Yeah.
one page. We can't fit anything else. You have to squeeze it in. I'm like, oh boy. So trying to talk them out of that and making them understand that 2 pages is fine.
Do
It's a
you get to know in your experience? I mean, you have to learn, especially I can imagine what you get because like me, I'm not. when it goes up to certain industries, I'm not an expert at it. I mean, I'm not. If you put me in medical, could I learn it? Yeah. But as a recruiter, you really got to know and how to read a resume with that too.
Yeah.
So how do you, that must be a lot of research that you've done in time to learn how to write resumes because you have to learn about that full job, don't you? You can't just, you're not just going to go to Google and let me copy and paste this and put
Right.
it. You have to
Right.
learn about that, don't you, to get those that they might be missing. Like there's got to be more industries, I'm sure, that look for more things than others, right?
Yeah.
The,
Absolutely.
a lot, I can imagine, more like nurses. It's not just like there's pediatric nurse. There's all kinds of nursing,
Yes.
even when it comes to your education.
Yep.
And that's a part we didn't talk about. That's got to be really well written in there, right?
Education on a resume, you would just put your college, your
Right,
degree, and the year, right? If it's not age discrimination, I'll leave off the year for some
right,
people. We would put that on there. There's nothing else to really write for that education. You just have it on there. On LinkedIn, the same thing. You just want to make sure you have the same stuff on there like that. You don't need to dive in like what you did. The
right.
title of the degree is enough. In the college, that's all you need to say. People want to basically, and you know this too. You just want to see if they have a bachelor's
Yeah,
or an
that's it.
associate's or a
I
master's.
never really read that much into it. I see it. I'm like, okay,
You're not diving into that. Nobody's diving into that
yeah.
anymore. They just want to see if you meet the minimum requirement, which would be bachelor's or something.
Well, that just brought up a question for me while you said that. My mind goes. I listen to you, then the questions come.
Yeah.
When you do that with schooling, some places will say experience and or listen, they require a bachelor's degree. And I always tell people, listen, as a recruiter, I would always, if I felt I was qualified for that job and I didn't have schooling, but I had all that experience, I still would apply.
Yeah.
I feel I still would reply because it just takes that right recruiter of seeing this saying,
Yeah.
going into the, well, look, 15 years experience, how much more are you looking for versus, okay, this guy's, and I'm not saying about anything that he just graduated college or, been out of school for 5 years. What are you looking for? If you're saying, nope, that bachelor's, well, there again, is there certain things you could do to, or you just leave that off education? You wouldn't put like just your high school, right? Or you know,
So if you don't have education, people put high school down because some jobs require a
right.
GED or diploma, or some people don't have those. So I always encourage people at least put that down. I also encourage people if they say I didn't graduate college, I never finished. I
I
don't care
know that's all the time. Yep.
if you took one class, put it down that you were there just for whatever for one semester. You don't have to say you got the degree. You just did. It
Right.
shows that you're learning. You're capable of learning.
Okay,
And
and that makes sense. That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, and
'Cause you were there. It's not like you weren't there.
yeah. It's a big help. I think it looks great when we show that you took one class or two class, whatever it is. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
So
And
I love putting that in there.
all right, good. All right. Wow, we got into almost 45 minutes. I didn't even get to my other part, but I'd love to have you back again. I really want to hit on LinkedIn and go over the optimization. I want to try to pull it up if I can pull examples up. And I think I can do that now with this software. I'm just learning this company's software here. But I want to thank you again, Patricia, coming on. I mean, Jesus, that was a lot of questions.
You're
But
welcome, of
what
course.
I tell people again, my to exit the show is, listen, man, you're part of the pie. I keep saying it. Get everything done. Tell your colleagues. I'll be saying to them, I'm like, let me see your LinkedIn. I'll be like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing? You haven't changed your picture. Everybody says, well, get a great picture. I said, I'm going to give you a biggest secret. Are you ready for this? All right. So I know it's not probably legal. It is legal, maybe. I took a picture on AI. It
Uh huh.
generated, right? The AI, and you have to pay $89, whatever like that, for that one shot. Well,
Right.
then I used AI to take the water streaks out, and this one AI thing did it. It took the water streaks out.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
So I got and that's probably hell because that I didn't pay for it, but it's a nice picture. It turned out good. So there was always ways around it to
There
look, but
are.
the
And that's
picture,
okay. You're just doing
yeah.
a touch up. That's fine.
That's it. That's it. And get rid of the 1970s pictures.
Yeah.
Put something real too. That's why I tell people, just put something real.
Yeah.
Don't be yourself because you're going to find out anyway. Because when on LinkedIn, I've seen the pictures, and then when they come out, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not you. I don't know. I'm
Right.
not saying I'm looking at it like that, but I couldn't put you in a lineup and say, wait a minute here, you're this person.
Right. Yeah.
You
These
know,
people
and I'm
change.
sure you tell people that all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's the first thing. One of the things I say is like, you should change your picture. If I
Yeah.
like the picture, I don't say anything. I'm like, if your picture is good. I mean, I do help them with their banners because that's a whole. Again, next time we'll talk about the banners.
Yeah.
Banners is a big deal on LinkedIn, actually.
Yeah.
So
And I want to tell people real quick is try to get as many the license images because I'm getting sued for $2,400 for a LinkedIn image. Now it wasn't even LinkedIn. I had my own staffing company 6 years ago, closed it legal. Everything was closed. On my website 6 years ago, I had a picture of LinkedIn and you clicked on it and it took you right to my profile. Well, this company in Canada, I throw all my junk mail out from my company. I don't, it's so closed
yeah.
until I got the 12 pages from an attorney in Las Vegas.
Oh
This
gosh.
company's suing me because the company in Canada says they own that picture. How the hell did they find that on a little website and they're charging, they want to sue me for $2,400? So, because of
Wow.
copyright, and it's federal. So I'm like, we got an attorney. I had to pay $1,000 for an attorney, and I couldn't. I'm in PA. I had to hire somebody in Denver, Colorado,
Wow.
that deals with this. So now it's almost all done. It looks like because, listen, on my note, I look at my images now. I'm like, oh boy, Jesus. I'm like, sure, but there again, it's like that was just a little. I don't think it's going to happen to a lot of people, but if I have to pay this, I'm going to be like just for a picture of LinkedIn, and LinkedIn owns it. They don't.
Right.
But somebody they put a number on it or something like six, something like that, and it's supposed to be theirs. And hopefully the attorney said it won't work. They're going to have to come down here to Pennsylvania, and I'm thinking, oh my God, for a website that's closed 6 years ago,
Yeah.
of
That's
a
crazy.
picture, yeah, for copyright, and it's federal.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and you think it wouldn't happen? I'm thinking I just got my taxes back, and I was like, there's the taxes. We're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But that was my lesson. I wanted to put that out there. But again, thank you so much. And I would love to have you back. And like I said, we can really, I want to go over that playbook with you also.
Yes.
And I put that in there too underneath the comments for people. There's a new 2026 LinkedIn playbook that I put the link to on it. Listen, it's got a great, if you don't do it, you, you struggle. That's what I
Yeah.
say. Just do
Yeah.
everything it says, and you'll be fine. So, all right, young lady, I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to talk to you on the way out. All right,
Thank you
talk
for
to you
having
soon.
me.
Pat. Yes, thanks.